What's up, everyone? Hope y'all doing good and welcome to a new episode of Wrestling with Rumors. Welcome. So, before we get into a new episode of Wrestling with Rumors, like I do every week here, every rumor that I am about to read to you is what it is. It is a rumor. We speculate as wildly as we want. We let that imagination run free. But until that rumor is proven as fact, it's true, we see it happening, some way to confirm it on TV or in some kind of article where the wrestler we're talking about actually says it for themselves, it remains what it is, a rumor. So with that, let's get into everything that is a new episode of Wrestling with Rumors. All right, let's get into it. So, right off the bat, WWE and Netflix are considering moving Raw's start time from 7 p.m. Eastern again for a couple of December and January episodes, reports Fightful Select. The site cautions nothing is for sure. Nothing is for sure. So this is something that they did in September for football, to see how well Raw would do starting earlier while Monday Night Football games are on. And for me, I didn't mind Raw being on. For me, it would be on at like 4 p.m. Pacific time here on the West Coast, California, Northern California, Sonoma County is where I live. So it didn't really bother me that much. But it's just one of those things that's really good about Raw being on Netflix, is that they are able to start Raw at the time that works for them. And whether they are overseas or they need to change the time, or they just need to change the time because scheduling conflict or whatever, that is one of the benefits to having Monday Night Raw on Netflix. Is the start time doesn't always have to be 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. It can be in the morning, like it has been a couple of times when Raw was overseas. So yeah, if they do this in December and January, I would have to imagine it's probably December and January. So December probably for the holidays. And January probably because we were talking playoffs for the NFL at that time. Possibly. But it's not for sure yet. It's just putting out into the world that this could possibly happen again. And I know I don't have any issues about it. I'm sure nobody else really does. And, the other thing about Raw is that if you're not able to watch it when it airs live, you're able to go back whenever you want, whenever you can, and watch Raw on your time. So that's also a good thing. Pardon me with the nose itching. Some in WWE are still pushing. Some in WWE are still pushing for Austin Theory to remain in creative plans despite Seth Rollins' injury. That per WrestleVotes, which also confirmed that there were discussions about Theory joining the Vision prior to Rollins getting hurt, and that Theory still has internal support moving forward to reappear on TV in a significant manner. Austin Theory, part of the Vision, when Seth Rollins was running it. That'd be cool to see. But Austin Theory in a Vision that is being run, that is really being controlled, Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed, and it's just them. And you put Austin Theory in there, that gives Austin Theory a chance to let out more of a more vicious side of him, a more dangerous side of him, a more I don't give a F side of him. So I still would like to see it. I would love to see Austin Theory in the Vision. I think it's a great opportunity for him, not only just to get back on TV and get in front of the audience again, but I think it's also a great opportunity for him to grow and for him to get some education from Paul Heyman and learn, and just that, just to see all that, I see that as being a really good thing for Austin Theory if he ends up still being a part of the vision. So I hope to still see it. Fightful Select also reported that Mustafa Ali's TNA contract expires at the end of this year, and a source told the site Ali is keeping his options open. So Mustafa Ali in TNA has been amazing. It's been really good for him. A real opportunity for him to. I mean, he's been doing this on the independents as well. Ever since he got released from WWE, is changing his character, growing, evolving. So to see the version of Mustafa Ali now is incredible. It was something we were slowly starting to see in NXT before he got released. So to see it like be like come full circle with that is really great, and to see him stay in TNA would be amazing. But I think there are a lot of people who would be curious to see Mustafa Ali in AEW and see what that looks like for him, see how he is utilized in AEW in the matches that he could possibly have with the talent there, like Kenny Omega, Hangman Adam Page, and so to see that possibly him going to AEW if he doesn't stay with TNA, keeping his options open, it's very interesting. It's very curious. But to see him stay in TNA and to keep that ball rolling and to see him go after the TNA World Title, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that too. I wouldn't mind seeing that continue in TNA as well. So, but whatever he decides to do, we're there for him. We support him, and only good things from Mustafa Ali. Absolutely. WrestleNomics report WWE ticket prices have nearly doubled since TKO took control of the brand in September of 2023, despite the fact tickets for sports and other entertainment options haven't risen over the same period. Demand for WWE tickets remain high. That seems to be due to both sustained popularity and scarcely created by a reduced event schedule. Best way to put this, do my best to put this as best as I can. TKO, since they took over, ticket sales have been crazy high, and especially the ticket prices that they put out for WrestleMania is insane. WrestleMania is insane. So my thing about TKO is, and how they're handling these ticket prices for WWE shows, is selfish of them, is greedy of them. I understand, and I think all of us understand how things are changing in the world politically, personally, and it's hard out there. It's hard out there for everyone, unless you're a billionaire or a millionaire. I will say, but for people for middle class people, for people who work every day, for people who work paycheck to paycheck, who take their hard-earned money and want to go to these events, want to bask themselves into these moments that happen in these PLEs or on a Raw or on a SmackDown or on an NXT. I really feel, and I don't feel like I'm alone in saying this, that TKO needs to be more understanding about the people that are actually going to their shows and be reasonable about their ticket sales and lower the price just enough so that not only people will continue to go to the WWE shows, which they do, they still go, regardless, they still go. They will kill them. They will sell everything off most of the time to go to these WWE shows. They'll put themselves in debt half the time to go to these WWE shows, but you shouldn't. when you go to these WWE shows and you want to put out the money, especially to sit in the front row to get as much, to be in much of the action as possible, to get up as close to the ring as possible, to see your favorite WWE superstar, male or female, tag team, faction, and you want to, the prices for these tickets, they should lower them just enough to be understanding to what the economy looks like today. And what the economy looks like today sucks for a lot of people who are working day to day and who are having a hard enough time affording groceries, let alone their bills, and a lot of people having to choose between, what am I going to pay healthcare? Am I going to have food in the house? What am I going to do? What's more important? Having food in the house, either to support yourself or to support your family, making sure your family, your kids have food, or making sure your family has healthcare. You know, it's a lot. It's all tangled up. It's a lot. And for the special event stuff, especially when it comes to sports, TKO should at least lower the ticket prices just enough to be considerate to the people who actually go to their shows, because it's not a bunch of millionaires and billionaires that are going to their shows, and at times it feels like that's who they're attempting to cater to, but the majority of their fans are lifelong fans who have been watching them since they were kids, and that are, for the most part, middle class and at times even poor, but most of the time middle class, who work their asses off every day and that save up so much just so they can go nuts at one show, let it all go all out on this one show. And I feel that ticket prices should come down a little bit. I know I talked a little too much about it, but they should come down. They should come down, not as much as it is for an AEW show, but at least enough to be considerate to the actual fans who are going to the shows. I don't know if I said that. I don't know if I worded that right, but I feel like, even if I didn't, I feel like a lot of you understand what I'm saying. But I'm gonna move on. I am gonna move on. AEW is hoping Swerve Strickland can make a winter return if his rehab from knee surgery stays on track, says Fightful Select's Sean Ross Sapp. I will say that I'm glad things are going well for Swerve Strickland as far as rehab, and he's getting the rest and taking the time off he needs while he's rehabbing his knee after surgery. But I don't want to see Swerve Strickland again for the rest of the year. I want 2026 in AEW to start with the return of Swerve Strickland. That's where I want it to start. And I want Hangman Adam Page to hold on to that AEW championship until first of the year. Because when we get to the first of the year, when Hangman Adam Page is feeling at the top of his game, and he's just wiping out all the contenders that are coming his way, when he least expects it, here comes Swerve Strickland. He returns, and his first thing to do when he returns is Hangman Adam Page. One last time for them to do this, and that's how it goes. That's how it should go. When Swerve Strickland returns, it should be first of the year, and the first of the year starts out with a monster of a match, a monster of a main event match at a pay-per-view for that AEW championship, where you got Swerve Strickland and Hangman Adam Page. Pardon me with the nose itching. Hangman Adam Page going at it one more time, or going at it again for that AEW championship, because when they're in the ring, they make magic. And to see that again, first of the year, that's a banger. Banger after banger after banger. I'm telling you, that would be great. That would be a good match. I mean, it'd be kind of cool if it was a triple threat, and like, Will Ospreay is clear to come back, but he's dealing with a neck thing, and you don't want to mess with that. You want to take your time with that. So with Will Ospreay, he comes back when he feels good and is safe is able to come back after the neck thing is all healed up, and it's good to take bumps again, you know? So, but for now, Swerve Strickland had Hangman Adam Page first of the year. That would be a good way to start the year out. So I'm hoping that's how I would see Swerve Strickland coming back, hopefully at the beginning of the year, not this year. Beginning of the year. For what it's worth, Harvard-educated lawyer and former WWE superstar David Otunga has a theory he admits is wild, that WWE is enforcing Andrade's non-compete to get to AEW to try and pressure him, to pressure. I can't talk right now. Let's take that from the top. So, for what it's worth, Harvard-educated lawyer and former WWE superstar David Otunga has a theory he admits is wild, that WWE is enforcing Andrade's non-compete to get to AEW to try and put pressure on them and then allow Edge, Adam Copeland, to come back to WWE to battle John Cena one last time. Got through it. That was a bit of a mountain. Anyway, this was a rumor I read early in the middle of the week for Rumor of the Day. I'll say the same thing I said now. It is a wild idea. I wouldn't throw it past WWE to do something like this. I wouldn't throw it past any promotion, really, to do something like this. But it is kind of, but I don't think it is a wild idea, so I don't think this is something WWE is actually doing. I don't think this is something WWE is actually doing. And if it was confirmed that this was something that they were actually doing, excuse me, this would be a pretty messed up thing that they were doing to someone, to try to get someone to come back to have one last match with John Cena. Because if that is what they're doing, if they were actually doing that, then you're messing with someone's career, someone's money, and that is jacked up. Although Andrade does have a hell of a lawyer, as it also was said in a rumor. So if it was true, then his lawyer has one hell of a case. But I don't think that's true. I don't think that's what they're doing. I think it's just one of those things when he got fired, when he got released, it comes with a 90-day non-compete clause. And there might have been some confusion in that when you got fired, then you don't have to worry about the non-compete clause. But you still do. So that's what more is the actual thing that happened here. And if that's the case, then that's on WWE, that's on Andrade, because if the rumor is also true that WWE did try to call Andrade and he didn't pick up the phone, he didn't answer the phone, then that's also on him for not picking up the phone. And hopefully, I would assume WWE left a message for Andrade, and maybe he didn't get that message. And I think it would also be on AEW too for not double checking to make sure everything with Cope is static as far as him coming back. So I feel there was a lot of miscommunication on that, and it's just Andrade just waiting for the 90 days to be up. And as far as Adam Copeland goes, he is gone, because as far as I can tell, and as much as the rumor feels that's true, that he is off of TV so he can start filming, reprising his role for season 2 of Percy Jackson. I believe I said his name right. For that, it's a Disney Plus show. So he's reprising his role in that. So that's why he's off of TV for a while. And it's not because his contract is up and he's going to be showing up on WWE to have one last match with John Cena. That's not the case. It's just that he's off TV to reprise his role for a Disney Plus television show. So, even though injuries to Seth Rollins and Jacob Fatu led some people to think men's War Games match will be Wyatt Six versus MTF, the Wrestling Observer newsletter says WWE is sticking with the plan to book a Punk and Reigns team against the Vision-led team inside the Double Cage at Survivor Series. Last week on Wrestling with Rumors, at the end of that episode, I brought up a theory of Wyatt Six versus MTS after how that episode of SmackDown looked between the two, and I'm like, this is our this is our new War Games match. And I still see that. You know, even though that this rumor is saying that they're still planning on sticking with a Punk and Reigns team going up against a Vision-led team, I still see MTF and Wyatt Six in War Games. I feel that's a good match. I feel like that's going to be a really good match. But I understand in War Games, you want your top superstars in the ring because it's your biggest match and you want your biggest stars in that match. So I get it if that is where they still go with it. We still got a little time before we get to War Games to see how it goes. The Wyatt Six versus MTF feels like the better option, but I am speculating, so we'll see how it goes, how that turns out. But even if they brought back a traditional Survivor Series match, but it's just the two teams that are on SmackDown, so it would be Wyatt Six versus MTF. That would still be a good match. But I feel that even if it's not that, I still feel that we are going to we are in the midst of this building into Wyatt Six versus MTF. Because Wyatt Six still has those tag team championships, MTF is going after those tag team championships. But Solo Sikoa also stated that they are coming for everything on SmackDown. So it's tag team championships. It's the United States Championship. It's the WWE Championship. So how all this will play out is slowly building. It's a very slow build, but I'm very much in my seat with popcorn, got my soda, and I am focused on this. So I'm in it. So if it's not them at War Games and it's the Punk Reigns Vision-led team kind of thing, it'll still make for a good match. If it's not the other thing and it's this thing. But War Games, we're creeping up on War Games very soon. This year is almost over. It's coming up. Whew. Per one, WWE already has a plan in place for how and when Bron Breakker will win the World Championship. They want to do it at a bigger show than Saturday night's main event. With that in mind, he was never going to win the #1 Contenders Battle Royal on Raw. WWE kept him out of the match to avoid making him look weak by being eliminated just like another guy on the roster. So I went into that Battle Royal in the beginning of that episode of Raw thinking, having this whole thing laid out, where Bron Breakker enters the Royal Rumble, wins the Royal Rumble, goes on to Saturday night's main event against CM Punk, and defeats CM Punk to win the World Heavyweight Champion, holds on to the World Heavyweight Championship until we get all the way to the Royal Rumble. And then by the time we get to the Royal Rumble, and then Seth Rollins returns, enters the Royal Rumble, wins the Royal Rumble, now has a match against Bron Breakker at WrestleMania 42, back in Las Vegas for the World Heavyweight Championship. When Seth Rollins returns winning the Royal Rumble, his main focus is the Vision. I brought you in, I chose you, and what did you do? You betrayed me, you took everything from me, and now I must do the same. I am taking everything from you, and that is that World Heavyweight Championship. We get to WrestleMania 42, and with shenanigans involved in that match, Seth Rollins comes out on top with the World Heavyweight Championship. Bron Breakker is down and out, a beaten Bron Breakker, a sidelined Bronson Reed, and an angry look on Paul Heyman's face that Seth Rollins has won and has taken back the World Heavyweight Championship, making him the only 3-time World Heavyweight Champion. That's what I had originally planned. However, if they are still looking at Bron Breakker to win the World Heavyweight Championship, it is something that could possibly happen either at Survivor Series or the Royal Rumble. Now, if they are going with a Vision-led team versus a Roman Reigns, CM Punk-led team, for War Games, then Royal Rumble would be where CM Punk would defend his World Heavyweight Championship. And yes, I'm saying CM Punk is going to be Jey Uso to become the World Heavyweight Champion. I might be wrong, but I feel like that's where we're going to go with it. For CM Punk to be a two-time World Heavyweight Champion, as far as that championship, but multiple time world champion. He's held the world title multiple times. Anyway, so once again holding the World Heavyweight Championship, we get into Royal Rumble, and at Royal Rumble, two things happen. Braun Breaker versus CM Punk for the World Heavyweight title. Braun Breaker, with shenanigans, is able to beat CM Punk, win the World Heavyweight title. And Seth Rollins returns at the Royal Rumble. In the match, wins the Royal Rumble. Braun Breaker, Seth Rollins, that's our match. It could still, everything I said, how I said it could still go that way, but starting at the Royal Rumble. So I'm still holding on to how I see things going all the way to WrestleMania. You just got to cut out that Battle Royal stuff out and just put it in, and then add it into and have it either start either at Survivor Series or at the Royal Rumble. I'm leaning more towards the Royal Rumble, where all that stuff that I'm predicting starts there. Just cutting out the Battle Royal stuff. So we will see, but that is where my speculation lies as far as Braun Breaker winning the World Heavyweight Championship and getting to WrestleMania to face Seth Rollins, as long as Seth Rollins is clear hopefully before the Royal Rumble, but we will see. But that's where my speculation lies. Netflix banner for November 17th episode of Raw features AJ Lee. And I'm not talking about the tag team either of Dragon Lee and AJ Lee. Not that. Tag team champions, by the way, but I'm not talking about them. The woman herself, AJ Lee. Some people think this means she will return to WWE by that event, which is held at Madison Square Garden in New York City. Oh, the beautiful city of New York. I have been there. I enjoyed my time there. Taking the walk down Manhattan, all in Manhattan, to go to Central Park and being in Central Park. Love Central Park. One of my favorite places to be and to just be still for a moment. Especially sitting at the fountain. Love it. Anyway, getting to this. So I think November 17th, pardon me with the nose itching again. November 17th, we are looking about a week out before Survivor Series. So, two possible things here. Either this is where AJ Lee starts to build to get a shot against Becky Lynch one-on-one for that Women's Intercontinental Championship, or we're starting to build into War Games women's match, and AJ Lee is going to be in that match opposed against Becky Lynch on one team, AJ Lee on another team. Who will be in that? I feel that maybe Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Maxine Dupree. I'm going to throw her in there. AJ Lee. And then, you got Becky Lynch. You got Kabuki Warriors. I'm trying to think of someone else. I can't see anybody else right now, but we're very early in the stages, so I'm sure more will come to mind as we go. But those are two possible things that I could see for if AJ Lee shows up does come to that episode of Raw November 17th, but we will see. And that'll do it for the rumors. One thing I do want to bring up is how the rating system, the new rating system, the Nielsen rating system, has worked out so far for pro wrestling altogether. And I will say that it hasn't worked out very well, and that's expected. That is expected for how it was expected, how the new rating system was going to work for pro wrestling that is still on television. It hasn't worked well. The ratings have shown that. And when you look at ratings for NXT, for AEW, for TNA, for SmackDown, when you look at those ratings for shows that are still on television, Yeah, the ratings haven't been good, but that is expected. There are still more than enough people who are still watching, which is good. There will always be fans that were watching, and the rating system now just sucks for pro wrestling, and it shows, and it's expected how low it was going to go. What I'm thinking, what I see is a future, a very near future for all of pro wrestling, where it's going to be on streaming apps. Now, this is something that WWE is ahead of the curve on. They're already doing it with Raw, with Netflix, with Raw exclusively only on Netflix. Great. And WWE is already doing this exclusively internationally by having Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and all their PLEs on Netflix internationally. And that's well ahead of the curve. That's how it should be. And I feel that AEW is kind of doing it. They're kind of doing it. They're simulcast. It's both. It's on both AEW Dynamite and Collision is both on TNN and TBS, while also streaming on live on HBO Max. So for AEW, I feel that eventually they need to get to a spot where it's only exclusively on a streaming app, whether that is HBO Max, where you can only watch AEW Dynamite and Collision on either HBO Max or another streaming site. I feel that needs to be the same for TNA. Well, it is. Hold on. It technically is. You can watch live episodes of Dynamite of TNA Impact. I believe you can do this. I don't have the app, so I can't say for sure. Maybe someone in the comments can confirm this for me, but you can watch live episodes of Impact on TNA Plus on their streaming app. So you can do that. Because that's where you can watch all their pay-per-views can be watched on their streaming app as well. And that's great. TNA Plus, that is great for everything right there. So TNA is already technically doing that, but they also have this TV deal that they're starting to work, that they're trying to work out, to have something better work out for them. But I feel that eventually it'll just be, that's where you'll watch Impact. Either they'll find another streaming app for Impact, or they'll, which makes sense, keep it on TNA Plus. And if you want to watch episodes of Impact, subscribe to the network, subscribe to TNA Plus, and you can watch it there. There was a time when the WWE Network was a thing, and I was really seeing a future where we would see live episodes of Raw, SmackDown, NXT, with all their pay-per-views on the WWE Network, because that made sense, but that didn't work out that way. So there's a future that I also saw where, once again speculating, where what they're doing internationally they would do here in America, and that is put SmackDown, put NXT, and keep the PLE and put the PLEs all on Netflix. It's a great idea. It works. It's affordable for people who can't afford the ESPN app for $30 a month, when all you're really paying for is to watch the PLE if you don't care for anything else on the ESPN app. So, and the word getting around about how things in the beginning of WWE on ESPN hasn't really been working out, especially for ESPN, which is understandable, considering that for people who are WWE fans but don't want to put out the $30, especially these days, for it, when they were paying a lot cheaper price, when they were paying a more reasonable price when WWE had their PLEs on Peacock. Yeah, totally get it. Very understandable where those people are coming from, and I'm with them on that. So it makes sense that they wouldn't put out $30 for the ESPN app to do that. So it makes sense. But I'm getting away from what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is how things are working with the new Nielsen rating system. It makes sense because it does suck for pro wrestling. And a very near future for pro wrestling is streaming. Everything on streaming, everything WWE, everything AEW, everything TNA. It all makes sense that everything will be streaming in the near future. When you look at your NXTs, your SmackDowns, your Collisions, your Dynamites, streaming exclusively, I think that works out for them. It's better for them. They're able to, the ads that they're able to, especially if they're going to have ads in their shows, they're able to use the sponsors that they want, and they don't always have to use the sponsors that the television network puts on there as well. They can just use the sponsors that they have. So that's a future that I see for it. But I have talked more than enough. This has been Wrestling with Rumors. I appreciate you all for watching, for listening, for sticking with me for this full episode. I appreciate you. I will see you next week for a whole new episode of Wrestling with Rumors. But until next week, as far as this week is concerned, I hope you have some fun. I hope you're safe. And don't forget to take care of yourselves. I will see you on the next one. Peace, y'all.